enough of that. You guys read the title. Today we are making a game inside of Google Slides. So the reason I wanted to do this is I was just sitting and I was bored and I wanted to make a game of some sort, but I thought I wanted a challenge, and normal game engine's kind of boring after you get used to them. So I thought I would challenge myself to try to make a functional game inside of Google Slides. So yeah, I actually have zero plans for this, so I have no idea what I'm going to make, which I'm sure is not the best way to start this. But I think that we should just get started. So a lot of you may be wondering, how do you think you're going to make a game in Google Slides? Because it is a place that you can make presentations and stuff. So it's really not meant for having stuff work or having, actual mechanics to things. And so the first way I thought I'd actually go about this is to use something called Script Editor. Now, the Script Editor is something built into Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Sheets, all of the Google applications. So I've just made this super simple thing, which is just one line of code, which basically just gets the active presentation and sets the name to testing. And if I just save the project here, and I can call my function on start and hit run, you can see if I head all the way after it finishes loading down here. Now, one bad thing to this is right here. You have to authorize whether you want this script to actually be able to edit this presentation. And the reason for this is because there are some things you can do. You can get the email of the person here, which you can use for bad things. And so because I just made it and it hasn't been verified, it will say Google hasn't verified this app. So anytime anybody wanted to play my game, they would have to go through this whole process, and it would say, please don't do this. And I would say, go to untitled presentation, unsafe, and I hit allow. There's just a lot of things you have to do, which doesn't make it very easy. But as you can see, if I head over here, and I can just unselect it, it has now set the title to testing. And I'm actually going to set it back here, and as you can see, you don't have to do it every time after you've agreed. Now when I come back, now it's back to Freddy's Game, YT Game. So this is one of the flaws, but the main flaw is for Google Slides, especially for making a game, the things you use the most are shapes, and the thing you can't do very well is move shapes around. And there's really not much you can do except for just simple things like changing the name of the presentation, things that you really would not need for a game that you're making. So I'm just going to delete this. And that leaves us with another option, and that is to make it all with animations. Now, I'm sure almost all of you know what I'm talking about, but if I just have a cube here, and let's just say this is our player, what I can do is I can have this player, for example, if I wanted him to, fade out, and then a second later, he could fade back in again. And so now when I hit play, he's going to fade out, and it's fade back in. And what you can do with this is you can make animations. So I could have him here, and then a separate version of him here, and a separate version of him here. So this guy could fade out, this guy could fade in, and then this guy could fade out, and this guy over here could fade in. And that would make sort of a walk cycle as he'd fade in here, then fade in here, then fade in here. And he wouldn't really be slowly moving across like, a smooth animation, but it is a way to get movement. And in Google Slides, that's a challenge. So I think this is the option I'm going to go with. So now that we know sort of how we're going to start doing it, I think I just need to start designing. So obviously Google Slides is known for styling for text or backgrounds. And so just really quickly, I made this blue background that anytime I have a new slide, it automatically puts a blue background. And this is what I think is going to be the sky. But obviously it's known for things like colors and text, and I changed the font here, changed the font size, changed how bold it is. But it's lesser known for actually making sprites or making a character or something. And what I mean is you can use a bunch of shapes like so. Okay, so he looks a bit weird, and when I say a bit, I mean a lot, but this is what I mean. So I just designed this character all out of individual shapes, and this is something that Google Slides is actually pretty good at. So now we know how we're going to do pretty much everything, and I think the only thing to do is pretty much just to generate some ideas and start working. Okay, so I sort of have an idea. I think I might want to have maybe a plane or something you control that's maybe not just a character. And maybe you sit here in the middle, sort of like the game Flappy Bird, and obstacles come at you or enemies, and you pretty much either have to dodge them or attack them. I think that might be a cool game that is pretty reasonable and something that you might be able to make. And so I'm still deciding what I want. I might actually go with a rocket, sounds kind of cool. Alright, so I just spent 30 minutes making this. So yeah, this is my amazing character model. You are going to be this rocket ship. But now I'm going to actually make this background a starry night because, you know, if you're a rocket ship, you're probably in the sky and it's probably nighttime out. So yeah. Okay, I have a pretty nice background of just a starry night. It looks like you're in space. So the one thing I need to do now is make some sort of asteroid or another spaceship or something that you're going to go against, and I'm going to put that right here, and then we'll have our title screen done and we can actually start making the game. So this is going to be the asteroid that I use, and so I can just go like this. We can have a little asteroid field. I don't know. At least it works, and this looks not too bad. The ship just comes in and maybe has to avoid these obstacles. Otherwise, it dies. So I'm just going to style up this home screen a bit here. Okay, so I don't know when the last time that I spoke was, but it's been like maybe an hour, longer than that for sure actually, but I finished the game and it is really bad, but it is just a prototype, so yeah, let's get into it. So basically we have a title screen, so it says Fruity's Game, that's the title, and this play button, and we have our nice aesthetics here on the side. But if we hit play, you can see we go in a game and asteroid actually starts coming at us. I'm just going to replay that. So the asteroid comes at us, and this button appears for a second. And the way it works is, while the asteroid's coming at you, if you press this button, then the asteroid goes by you, and you go down a bit and dodge the asteroid. And I know I'm skipping through all the sides here, but what happens is the button disappears after a second, and the asteroid hits your ship. And when the asteroid hits your ship, then you don't have a chance to go down anymore, and at that point you lose, you start exploding, asteroid bounces off and says you died. And if you press this retry button, you'll get sent right back to the beginning and you can play again. So I'm just going to go ahead and click down. As you can see, I moved down there, asteroid went past me, and a new asteroid comes at me, and pretty much it's the exact same thing. I'm just going to reset this again. So the asteroid comes at me, and this up button appears, and if I click it, I move up, and the asteroid keeps going by, and then it says I win, because that's all I have so far. But of course, the same thing happens if I just go here. The asteroid comes at me, and if I don't press up in time, it disappears. Asteroid hits me, I explode, and I died. Retry, back to the beginning. So it's a pretty simple game, and once you win, then it pretty much just says you win, and you can play again. So yeah, that is the game I made in Google Slides. Now, my idea is, I've made this in Google Slides, and I've done all of the work for designing things, and I think what I can do now is I can use an actual programming language to make this into a better game. So a game that works really well, but it actually uses these same images and stuff that I used for the rocket ship. So I'm just going to take some screenshots of the meteors and the moon and all of the background stuff, and I'm going to make a game in JavaScript, which is basically just Chrome's built-in coding language and my language of choice. So let me get started on that. Alright, so I've just set up a quick little local page here, and it basically just has a canvas here in the middle, and some other things, and this basically just allows us to put whatever game we want inside this black square, and then all this outside stuff can just be surrounding the game. So I think now what I'm going to do is take some screenshots. That way everything looks the exact same when it's in here, and you can get an accurate comparison between in Google Slides and in JavaScript in an actual language. So you may be wondering how I'm going to get these icons and get them into photos. And the way I'm actually doing it is I'm going to copy paste, for example, the rocket ship into here. And I just put them on, and I just made this green little screen here. And so what I do is after I put things here, I'll just take a screenshot of them with the window snipping tool. And what I'll do then is I bring them into this quick little editor here. And all I have to do is select the magic wand, click this, and click delete. And now, I guess this is a hard one to see, but all of the stars are here. And there is a bit of green there, but you really can't see it when it's out of far. So I'm just going to save, and this one should be easier if I just click and click delete. Deletes the whole background, and these are going to be scaled down to a lot smaller than they are right now. So when I save it, hit OK. Now I can head back over here, and you can see there's transparent backgrounds on all of these. Alright, so now I have imported the background image, and it is now up here on the screen. So now all I have to do is import the rocket image. So really the hardest part is not actually making the game, because that's what JavaScript is good at, but it's actually just getting things to render properly and not be stretched. So as you can see, I pasted the image right here into my screen here, and the problem is it doesn't have the right aspect ratio. So it's the correct height this way, but I have to do a lot of math to make sure it gets the correct proportional height this way to how big it is this way. And it's kind of confusing, but I think I got it. Alright, so now I have some smooth motion set up, and so this is the one thing you can do so much better than in Google Slides, because you can actually get inputs from the player. So I'm actually using WASD, or actually right now I'm just using the arrow keys, but whenever I press the up key or the down key, you can see we have some nice smooth motion from our rocket. And this means we don't have any jumpy motion or anything like that, which really helps the whole game look a lot better. So the next thing we need to do is add in our meteors, and they need to be flying across the sky at random locations. Alright, now I've got them to spawn randomly, but the one problem with this is that, one, there's no hitboxes, so these two, they can touch each other, or I can touch them and it doesn't end the game. Two, when they get off the screen, then there's no more, so there's just that one wave. Okay, now what I've done is I've made it so anytime any one of them goes off the screen, it spawns again on the other side, meaning that we technically can go forever here. Alright, I sort of have it. So it starts off slow like this, and then slowly there gets to be more and more and more. This is looking pretty good so far, and I think it's coming out a lot better than the one in Google Slides did. Now what I'm going to do is make it so that when you hit the asteroids, you actually die. Okay, you guys don't know how long this took. I had so many, there were like 15 different bugs, all in like 3 lines of code. So it works now. Whenever it turns yellow, whenever it enters the zone. So yeah, I finally got that working. I have so much debugging stuff to undo, especially all these red and blue backgrounds, but it does work now. So there's only a few more things we need to get done. Okay, I think I just finished it. So I did a lot of it off camera, mostly because it's taken 4 hours of recording time, and it's, still not a great game. But let's just look over here. This is our original game, and we all remember it, so I don't need to play it again. But finally, let's look at the game I created, and I am going to be posting this on my website. So if you want to see this game that I made in Google Slides, or this game right here that I made on my website, I'll have links to both of those in the description, and you can go click them right now and play them pretty much instantly. So yeah, even though they're not good, if you just want to check them out, go ahead and do that. But anyway, let's get into it. So as you can see, we have the same title screen as before, and we have the play button. So if we go ahead and hit play, as you can see, it jumps us into a game, and it's a lot different, and you can already see it's a lot smoother than the original game over here, where things kind of just come at you slowly. But oh man, a lot of stuff is happening. So I did just die. I'm gonna retry. And so if I press arrow keys, you can see I can actually move up and down, which means we have a lot better movement system in this game. We also have random asteroids. So they come at you at random times and in random places, and they slowly speed up. You may have been able to see that. But yeah, so they come at you, they're random sizes, and they all kill you when they touch you. So if you get too close and you accidentally hit one, they'll slow down. You'll do this exploding animation. It's the same one I had before, and it'll say you died. You can go ahead and press retry, bring you back to the home page, press play, and you can play again. So overall, this game took me longer, mostly just because there's more bugs when you're actually using a coding language. And that's something you really don't get over here. The main problem with Google Slides is that you can't do a lot of things, but there's never really a time where you run into a problem where something you want to do doesn't work. Whereas over here, you really have to do everything manually, and there's so many bugs and so many times where you don't know what's going on. You know what you're trying to do and you know how to do it, but it's not working, and you have to spend a lot more time trying to fix that. And I think that's why overall coding it like this takes a lot longer. However, you have a lot more flexibility, and Google Slides really is not a game engine. I really overall do not recommend this. Pretty much never use Google Slides unless you're just trying to challenge yourself, because it sucks. It's horrible. You have to do everything manually. There's no way to do anything. And I would recommend JavaScript. Even though it takes longer, it gets you much, much better results in the end. And, I mean, this was only 4 hours. I've spent longer on many different projects. So I would recommend this. Thank you guys for watching this video. Again, the first links in the description will bring you to both of these games, and you can play the difference yourself. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.